Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, Mayor.
How you doing, Governor?
Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Please have a seat. So excited to be here. And big news today, I signed the tax cut bill. So, cut over my 7 years, we've cut $1 billion in taxes for hardworking Oklahomans. And our economy is booming. We still have record savings, and so everything's good. Oklahoma's open for business. Companies from around the world are taking notice of Oklahoma. 2 weeks ago, I got to announce CBC, which is an ammunition manufacturing company that's going to be investing $300 million in the eastern part of our state. And they're from Brazil, so we're really excited about that. 350 jobs. We think more to come there. They're a huge player in ammo and the sportsman industry. They own different manufacturers as well. So more to come with that company. We're really excited. And then last week, I announced the biggest economic development project in state history. $4 billion investment. President Trump was also in the Middle East and talked about bringing some of this critical minerals back to the United States. And so I want to thank President Trump for all of his efforts. And it's called EGA. And we're really excited to welcome them to the great state of Oklahoma. They're going to be smeltering aluminum and using the port to bring up the bauxite and alumini. And that's about the extent of what I know how it works. But it is really neat to have so far upstream where we're making these products that all these other, it puts us in play for auto part manufacturers, aviation manufacturing, everybody else that has to use aluminum wants to be located close to these facilities. And so really excited about it. And today we get to announce that Firehawk is coming to the great state of Oklahoma. And those are the folks behind me that I'll introduce in a second, but it's an innovative rocket fuel manufacturing company, and they're going to invest $22 million and create 100 jobs in the Lawton area. But they make an innovative rocket fuel that can be developed more quickly and effectively. This is essential for our national defense. Oklahoma is quickly becoming a national defense hub thanks to Lawton, Fort Sill, all of our military bases, the FISTA, all the work that we've been working over the last few years to develop FISTA there to work and be an incubator for new developments, new products for our military. So businesses like Firehawk are coming to Oklahoma because they know that Oklahoma is the most business-friendly state. They love our permitting process, our workforce, and being so close to some of these military bases is fantastic. So the other thing that we always talk about is Oklahoma, we feed the world with our great agricultural companies. We fuel the world with our oil and gas, and then we defend freedoms around the world. So that's how I always brag on the great state of Oklahoma. And, you know, the folks behind me, so Will Edwards, you'll hear from him. He is the CEO and founder of this company, and Steve Edwards is his father. Where's Steve at? Right here. Okay, there we go. Steve is a great Oklahoman that's been around the Capitol for a long time, and one of my favorites here. Brad Cooksey is economic development in the Lawton area, and then we've got Mayor Stan Booker, and then Chairman Caldwell, I think, is up here with us as well. Thank you for your efforts, and Christy from the FISTA is with us. So I'll pause right there, and maybe Will, do you want to tell a little bit about the company? I'd love for you to share a little bit about it, and then we can open up for some questions for this group.
All right. Got to put the hat on. We're thrilled to be in Oklahoma. My name's Will Edwards. I'm one of the co-founders at Firehawk Aerospace. And first off, I want to thank Governor Stitt, Chairman Cole, Senator Mullen, Chairman Caldwell, the FISTA team, the LEDA, the LEDC for making this possible. We've been working on it for about a year now. And Firehawk's bringing the first scaled 3D printed propellant factory to Oklahoma. It'll be the first one in the United States. The amazing thing about what we're building is we've created a way to produce 1 million pounds of propellant unbelievably cost efficiently, incredibly fast. We've cut the process down to make rocket propellant from several weeks to just several hours. And that's the innovation behind Firehawk. So I want to thank everyone for making this 320-acre facility possible in Lawton. We're excited for the jobs we're going to create, for the tens of millions of dollars we're going to invest in Oklahoma, and this is just going to be an incredible opportunity. So thank you very much.
So we can open it up to questions about Firehawk or whatever you want to hear about.
Session's about to end, either Thursday or Friday. What do you think of session, and are we headed into a special session?
Well, first off, it's my 7th session, and all of them are different. They kind of take a life of their own as people that have been around this building a long time, don't they? Don't they, Steve? But I think, really enjoyed working with Speaker Hilbert and the Pro Tem Paxton, and I think we've had one of the best, most conservative sessions ever. We have the quarter-point tax cut that I just signed. We have the path to zero, so this will put Oklahoma on a trajectory that if we continue this economic boom and this development and income continues to increase, we're going to modestly grow government, but it's also going to automatically trigger tax cuts, not in an irresponsible way, but with excess revenue, it'll be able to trigger tax cuts and put us on a path to zero. That's something Tennessee did a few years back, and Tennessee's just been exploding with growth. So we'll do more marketing around that and let Oklahoma, or let the people around the world and around the country know that Oklahoma is serious about being the most business-friendly state. The tort reforms are amazing, behind the meter. So just a lot of good momentum that's happening, and then we made some strategic investments, and Chairman Caldwell and Chairman Hall have done a really good job of prioritizing some of the priorities around. And Oklahoma, listen, we had a $5 billion savings account, and so that's what that's for, is to strategically invest in certain things. And so we've also done a good job of holding most agencies flat, so we didn't put Oklahomans in a bad situation by increasing base level expenses, and we always talk about that. But we are strategically investing in certain things, and we've upped the roads and bridge fund. Anyway, a lot of good things, knock on wood, that we're able to do. I'm probably missing a few. Business courts that just came out of the House today and the Senate. So really excited about business courts. And as you know, I'm trying to take down Delaware. We want to be the most business friendly state. We want all the
Testing.
Do you have plans to sign the overall budget bill before 5 o'clock tonight? Just let that go into effect? Kind of, what's the feeling there?
we're still reviewing all day reviewing bills and budget and going through all the take-out bills. So we'll make that decision later today. There's a few things we're still waiting on to get from the team, but we're still making that decision, and you'll know tonight.
Can I ask, what are any specifics that you're waiting for? Any negotiations still happening? I know business courts was one of the things.
Business courts, I'd need to ask the team if there's anything else that we're waiting on, but I think that was the big thing. It hasn't been delivered to us yet, but I think the House has delivered it back to the Senate. So just any time it should be coming to our desk. And so we met with groups from the Senate, met with the Speaker and the Pro Tem earlier. The next step is I think they're going to, we'll have to ask Caldwell this. They probably want to try to override a few of my vetoes, and that'll be a nice conversation that we can have together. But I only veto bad bills, so if they override anything, Chairman Caldwell.
Never vetoed one of my bills in 7.5 years.
Really? Did you hear? That's great. See, I'm a smart governor too. He's the chairman of the appropriations. But no, I don't know if specifically we're waiting on anything. The business courts was the big thing that we've kind of back and forth a little bit, and I think we're at a good spot. And I think a little misconception on that. People thought that, this is really important. So the Farm Bureau let me know that they were concerned about a couple things, and their concern was that a royalty owner didn't have access to the court system if they wanted to bring a suit against an oil and gas company or somebody that was drilling on their property. And they were afraid that they were going to have to travel to Oklahoma City or Tulsa for one of the business courts. That's not true. If it doesn't meet this threshold of a $500,000 claim, or it's a class action type suit, that would go into business courts. But a regular person taking a suit against someone, they can be in courts, in the district courts in Guyman or Woodward or wherever they're located. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about major business-to-business disputes. So that was a little misinformation that was being spread, that it was going to harm or hurt our local farmers and mineral interest owners making claims that maybe they felt like that they were owed something. They still have every right to go to the district courts in their local area to fight those claims. So that was something we were trying to dispel, as some of the maybe plaintiffs' attorneys were trying to spin this up and trying to tank our business courts.
You signed House Bill 2235 into law over the weekend to increase compensation for those who are wrongfully convicted. You did line item veto 2 portions of that for free health insurance and higher education. You said you just didn't feel like that was necessary to put legislatively appropriated funds toward that. Can you elaborate on that decision and why you don't feel it's necessary?
Can you repeat which bill was that again? I'm trying to remember.
House Bill 2235 to increase compensation for those who are wrongfully convicted. It increases it to $50,000 for every year that they were incarcerated.
Yeah, we let that go into law, right?
Yes.
Yeah, or I might have signed that, I don't know. Yeah, basically, we thought if you're wrongfully convicted, listen, if you're wrongfully convicted, the state screwed up, right? And something happened, and so we thought that a cap of, I think it was originally $175,000, and we allowed it to be $50,000 per year. We thought that was a reasonable deal. Listen, if someone's wrongfully convicted and they spent 30 years in prison, then I think that they deserve $1.5 million from the, if they can prove that. And so I think there was some, it wasn't retro, but we thought that was a reasonable request. So
I wanted to ask you about going back to veto overrides. That seems like it's been a huge conversation this week. A lawmaker I just talked to said that's pretty much taken all the oxygen inside this building right now. He said he's actually talked to you just about your efforts and maybe telling them, hey, this is why I vetoed it. Don't follow along this override. Have you had conversations, hosted anybody here in the conference room, at the mansion, just anything like that, and talked about veto overrides, getting them to say no?
Here's the deal. First off, all of my vetoes, I publicize why, right? And so you can go to our website and you can look, and I try to do videos and try to explain, because sometimes the media will try to spin that and say, oh, Governor doesn't like the police or doesn't like this industry or that industry, or how in the world can he be against firefighters, or whatever the bill name is. But go read my message. I am for limited government, lower taxes, and more government regulations doesn't fix these problems. A lot of these things are press statements, and you get into the legislature, one of your constituents comes to you, and they were wrong somehow by something, and so let's fix it by setting up a new committee or a new organization or new this or new that, or let's mandate the insurance companies cover this or that. Those are generally, it's just a difference in philosophy. There's never a shortage of good ideas around this building. And next year there'll be another 2,000 good ideas that get filed, that increase costs, that overregulate, and ultimately, I don't think move the needle a lot of times. And so we have those conversations with the legislature. Now, there's things that I could go either way. I mean, And I'm only as good as the information I get. So there's a couple that I've already talked to that they said, hey, you missed this issue. And I said, you're right. Y'all need to override that. And there's a couple that the legislature came to me and said, hey, we missed this. And we thought we were cleaning something up or fixing this. You need to veto this, and we'll fix it next year. Sometimes the legislature can pull a bill back and rework it and resend it back to us. So it's a team effort. And listen, I do my job, and then part of this process, if they have 2/3 of the votes, they can override my veto, and I'm fine with that. I tell people all the time, regular people in all over Oklahoma, they don't even know what a veto override is. I never really paid attention to this before when I was in the private sector. So if they override the veto, then that's on them. But everything that I do is to try to protect the taxpayer. We always talk about the money is always on the yes side. Ask yourself who is behind these bills. Who comes up here and has the money to get this thing passed? It's usually the industry that you're going to benefit from it, right? I represent the no side. I represent the taxpayers, and I'm going to always start at no, and that's why you see me veto a lot of things, because I think a lot of it doesn't move the needle. It just is a press statement.
Speaking of money, for the Firehawk project, I'm curious what state incentives or payments may be involved. I know that Firehawk presented in front of the lead committee in the Senate. There wasn't an announcement of that in the budget, but whether you know or Mr. Edwards knows or Chairman Caldwell knows, is there any other than like a quality jobs qualification associated with this project?
I think there was a $4 million tax incentive from Oklahoma, but Chairman Caldwell, you might remember.
Predominantly, most of the funding is going to be through DOD withholding taxes. It's through a program called the PG program.
Will, you want to take that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've used that same program now to build hospitals, but also, it'll be the PG program. It's a mechanism to use withholding taxes. We've used it from everything. With this specific industry, it'll be DOD type funding is the mechanism. And I think that comes out to 18 million worth of withholding taxes. So there won't be any kind of direct appropriation or anything, any kind of legislative action. This is a perfect example of the Department of Commerce and the executive branch using the mechanisms that they have on hand to be able to go and recruit businesses. And then also, I think we have to give credit where credit's due to the FISTA and the vision that the city of Lawton had, 5-6 years ago when they went to Huntsville, Alabama, and saw what they were doing at Redstone Arsenal and trying to make that same effort in Southwest Oklahoma.
Governor, I have a question about the new license plates. The original new design featured the Native American woman or the guardian statue. We have emails that show you put the kibosh on that design and instead chose to go with the red plate with a 46 star. Why was that?
What was the first part of your question?
The new design for the license plates being the Native American woman or like the guardian statue.
Are you saying that that's the license plate you wanted, or what?
No, that the focus groups were put together and they were, that was a popular design.
Were you on the focus groups?
No.
Okay. So why are you saying that the focus group recommended that design?
That was it. That design was something that the focus groups had come up with, was popular, that some Oklahomans had wanted. We just wanted to ask.
Which Oklahomans?
This was just something that, this was another option instead of the Red Star 46. So we just wanted to get some clarification.
Who gave you that question to ask?
What now?
Who gave you that question to ask?
My news station.
What news station are you with?
Fox 25.
Okay. So I guess the question is about the license plate. Does Fox 25 like the license plate or not like the license plate?
I don't know what our station's personal feelings are to that. I'm just...
Well, you're saying Oklahomans wanted a different license plate. That's what I'm curious about, because we have a team at Commerce that ran a process, and we came up with what we thought was the best license plate, and it's the one that's out there. So don't know exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
No, not disappointed. Actually, if it was the bill that was pushed by the casinos, I would have vetoed it anyway. So I had a piece of great legislation that I've rolled out a couple years ago that we went through all the different. We analyzed the 30 or 40 states that actually have sports book, and we put a great plan together. We've rolled it out, but it's more of a free market approach. And so, like I said in here before, I think the big casinos are, the big bosses are waiting till I'm out of office to run that. So we'll see what happens in, I guess, the 27 cycle.
Governor, regarding House Bill 2513 and the Department of Mental Health Services and Substance Abuse appointing that chief medical officer to ultimately eliminate the long wait times for defendants deemed incompetent to stand trial and awaiting treatment. They said in the session this morning that they're appointing about $9.5 million to take care of this. How is the department able to, appropriate funds for upcoming fiscal years when there's been some confusion with the budget in the past?
You're going to have to ask that question again. Sorry.
So regarding House Bill 2513 with the Department of Mental Health Services and Substance Abuse, they're hiring a chief medical officer to help defendants who have had long wait times to stand trial for awaiting treatment. So they're allocating about $9.5 million to help resolve this issue. So my question is, how is the department able to successfully move forward with allocating funds for future fiscal years when there's been confusion in the past with the budget?
Boy, does anybody know what she was talking about there? Super confusing, but mental health is they're trying to get to the bottom. I think one of the biggest things we're working on is the contract, so we're not in this issue next year. Because ultimately, and I think Oklahomans understand this, you can't have nonprofits and vendors billing unlimited. There's not an unlimited checkbook on this side, and the way that mental health's got in trouble over the past, or really even all government agencies that are payers, is having an open checkbook and not really putting guardrails around these contracts with providers. So I think that's my biggest focus. The specifics on the $9 million or the question that you asked there, I don't really know how to answer that. I know that they're working on the contracts. We've appropriated the same amount they did last year, and so they're hiring a new CFO. They have a whole new payroll group. They're trying to get their arms around what was really happening over the last, probably over the last, decade or more.
Good afternoon, Governor. Just wanted to follow up on your return to office executive order that you issued back in December. OMES had their first quarter report, showed about a quarter of the state employees, 8,000 or so, kind of maintained their flexibility, either remote work or hybrid situations. But also that survey had about 50 agencies that didn't respond to the survey, including your office, which we later confirmed you had everybody back in the office. But were you surprised by the results of that executive order, and kind of, was it expected that many got the exemptions for the office space?
Yeah, the 58 that didn't respond, we'll need to go back and kind of dig into those and find out and hold them accountable and see if they're, what's happening. But I think Oklahomans, they're having to go to work. Everybody's back at work. We need people back in the office. Now, during the previous director that I had at DHS, we closed about 20 facilities statewide because what we found is we had some of our caseworkers are out of the office all the time anyway. So some of the agencies literally are out of the office and don't need to be in the office. They need to be out in the field, and they're caseworkers. And so there's certain jobs that, and I probably should be more specific, but there's certain jobs that literally should not be in an office. So the government had too many offices, and we were spending too much money on leases. So that was part of my first 4 years. We really shrunk down on the amount of office space that we had. But when you've got employees working from home in Texas and in New York and in Washington, D.C. and across state government, we should be putting a spotlight on it. I hope you guys continue to report on all this and hold everybody accountable. Everybody in the governor's office is is back in the office, and I'm trying to force every single state agency that way. As you know, not every state agency, they're separately elected, people in state government that run their own departments that have people working out of state. You guys should be digging into those kind of things. So thanks for the question, and we're digging into that too. We noticed all those things. So. Right now, no. I think everything's going well, and we've got, we're going to land this plane, and I feel really, really good. I think it's one of the best sessions we've had in my 7 years, and I've really enjoyed working with the leadership, and we've got a lot of great things going. So the economy's good, and it's a good time to be in Oklahoma. So thank you so much.